All right, I'd like to call the budget meeting to order at this time, the joint budget meeting. And at this time, I'd like to ask Councilman Andy Nakhan to lead us in prayer, and we'd like to ask Councilman Lazar to lead us in the pledge.
Amen. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together in the light of working together with your guidance and your grace. May we all take into consideration when we make our decisions and moving forward. Let us think about each other rather than ourselves. Let us work as a whole in one mindset to bring the best we can to this community and this parish. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Please turn to the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for attending our Lafayette Parish and City joint budget hearings today. Thank you, Councilman Nakhan, for the prayer, and thank you, Councilman Lazard, for the pledge. We welcome you to today's budget review. This meeting is a departmental budget review session. If you wish to address the council, a green card should be filled out and given to Ms. Veronica Williams, our council clerk, who's seated all the way to my left. I am requesting that the first row to my left be used for media only and the right side of the auditorium be used for the budget and finance staff. Also requesting that anyone who approaches the podium please state your name and title for the official record. Lastly, food and drinks are not allowed in the auditorium. We ask that you please silence all cell phone or electronic devices. This meeting is to address matters related only to the proposed budget document. Please, we do request that all other matters specific to city parish government business be directed to the administration and not to be addressed at this public forum. The budget document has been posted on the website at LafayetteLA.gov under Finance tab. Public comment will be held immediately following each budget review on the matters related to that specific department's budget. All council members are reminded that there's 3 possible actions that can be taken during the hearings. A council member may propose a change to the budget by offering one of the following. 1, a general amendment. That's when the entire council agrees on a proposed amendment. 2, a separate amendment when a council member objects to a budget change, or a council member may also choose to mark an item for a wrap-up discussion, which will allow time to receive additional information. You may also make a request for information from the director or agency head, and following your receipt or review of the information, you may choose to come back later to perform one of the 3 options that I just mentioned above. As budget chair, I will be the presiding officer. For joint meetings, I will alternate with the budget vice chair, Liz Hebert, on presiding. For those tuning in from home or other locations, you may call 291-8428, 291-8428. If you wish to speak, please keep in mind that there is a delay when viewing on TV and via the internet. Council announcements related to the budget. Seeing none at this time, I will ask Mayor President Guillory if he has any open remarks to this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The only open remarks is that I see a lot of great LCG employees here, and I just want to tell you how much we all appreciate you. I know both councils do, and definitely the administration appreciates everything that you do for those who are blessed to serve. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Budget items by department. We will start with drainage. The first department is drainage. Ms. Laura, give us an overview, opening comments regarding drainage, how it works, allocation, how the money works.
To drainage, would you like me to hold those till the end of the meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Drainage operations and maintenance is 100% funded with 2 parish-wide millages. There is some city drainage money that's dedicated to capital projects in the city, so that's why we consider this one of the joints, because of the capital projects. But the two millages that fund drainage are the drainage millage. That millage is 3.34 mills. It generates about $7.5 million. That's the first part of the pie. There's some extra funds that come into that drainage fund, state revenue sharing and interest, which makes up the difference. But that drainage millage, 3.34 mills, brings in about $7.5 million for parish-wide drainage M&O. There is another millage that was rededicated a few years ago. You may remember it's 1.1 millage. We call it our stormwater management fund, but it's all drainage. It generates about $2.5 million. The extra money you see budgeted here is from fund balance. Both of those millages are parish-wide millages. Back when I did the budget introduction and we went through some fund pro formas, I recommended that we consolidate both of these millages into one fund, thinking it would be easier for the department to manage. The departments tell me no, that's not the case. They would, for the time being, they would like to leave it alone in the two different funds. They manage it well between the departments and the engineers. So at this time, we're not going to recommend that we combine those two parish-wide millages into one fund. We will leave them into two separate funds. They're all included in the drainage section of this department and in the capital project section. We did, for the city folks who weren't here earlier, we learned some new things from the assessor, in that this is the first time since the 80s that the assessed valuation in the parish has gone down in a reassessment year. And so what that means is that our millages, the 3.34 mills that generates $7.5 million, is not going to generate $7.5 million next year. There are some options that you may have when you come to levy those millages. Don't have all the information now. We're going to get that, the assessor said, later on today, but it's certainly something that you may want to follow up with the assessor. I just learned about it today, so it's fairly new for me. I wasn't doing this in the 80s. But the 1.1 millage stormwater management is not going to bring in the same amount of money next year either. I think you said it was going down about 6%. So that's something that we do need to talk about and look at in the upcoming months when we go to levy those mills. That's it. There's no allocation in the drainage fund.
Okay, and just to be clear, those are parish-wide millages.
Parish-wide, so all of the O&M for drainage is parish-wide.
Are we subsidizing anything, or are we running all of this department's status quo with the millage?
With the millage.
So we're not subsidizing, we're not taking anything. We're basically running both of these departments with what we have available.
Yes, sir.
Those capital projects, we got more money towards drainage with the rededication from library, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then last year, at some point, the council and the previous administration had eliminated some projects and applied that towards drainage.
They did. They dedicated future borrowings in the city bond fund to drainage. But now our ability to borrow in the future is a little bit uncertain. It's going to depend upon sales tax revenues.
And those were from city projects, correct?
It was all city bonds.
Right, okay.
Laura. Oh, it's Councilman Lazar. It's Councilman Lazar first.
Councilman Lazar.
Laura, just for purposes of educating the public, getting a lot of questions about drainage projects and the drainage fund and what have you. A couple of months ago, we got an update from the Drainage Department as to status of certain projects and percentage that had been completed to this point. It gave the impression to a lot of people that there was some money some money in a drainage fund somewhere. So can you just kind of clarify that for the public?
There is, and when we get to the capital section, you'll see those amounts under the existing balances.
Okay. I'm just inquiring in terms of the way the process works. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but do we bid out a certain number of projects per year? Or, because I noticed we had this thing and we had like a percentage complete.
Going to have to defer to the department
Okay.
for that.
Okay, all right. I'll wait then. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, Gary.
you got it? Councilman Bear? Or,
Okay,
Pat.
thank you. Lord, I have a question, what Mr. Lonkin was talking about when it comes to the bonds that were sold for the Lafayette, for the city of Lafayette, but it's for parish project, capital projects. So I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly.
The parish doesn't have any bonds, but the city does. So when we get to the 5-year capital, you'll see it under the city section.
Okay, thanks.
You
Is
want,
still my mic? Is still me?
okay, go ahead.
I'd like to request information for wrap-up is a list of all drainage projects on a GIS map. That way I can kind of see where all the projects are being completed for drainage from this past calendar year.
Okay.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Got it, V. You got it, V. Okay,
He's
cool.
always got it, baby, he's on it.
I hear you, I'm just making sure. And you know, one important thing to note is that, you know, everybody in the parish pays the drainage and stuff, but you know, it's unfortunate that we have to do an intergovernmental agreement to go do drainage work in Scott, Dusson, Karen Crowe, Broussard, Youngsville. Being these councils are split now, is it my understanding or is it my wrong understanding that if there's a project in a municipality, because the outcry has always been those municipalities pay drainage tax too, and they never get anything from the parish, okay? If they look at how much they participate in drainage taxes and everything, a lot of their roads or a lot of their drainage projects are coming within their own municipality, but yet they're paying the parish government property taxes for drainage and roads. So, and legal's probably not here, but my question would be, does that give this parish council the availability to go into a municipality? I know we can do joint efforts. I know we can do an IGA, but is there an opportunity with drainage money to go and actually do a project in another municipality?
I'd have to defer to legal, but I do think you need their permission to go into their corporate limit.
Oh, I would agree with that too. I'm just saying money-wise. Okay, so we definitely know, for the public knows, everybody pays a parish drainage tax.
Yes,
And
sir.
we're operating within our means, and we're not subsidizing anything. And all of our capital projects have come from other stuff, not so much.
City has some capital set-asides. Parish-wide capital would be within those 2 parish-wide millages.
Okay. And I'm assuming we have no capital within those millages.
No, I think they have some capital.
Okay, all right, cool deal. Well, let's get started. Page 184. 184. Anybody has anything on 184? Councilman Andy Nakane.
I just wanted to make a comment that a lot of the numbers in here are new this year. And I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that because the department basically is set aside new. So where you see where there was nothing last year and there's a huge increase, that's probably because it's a new department, new position. It's just all created new. So I just want to make comment on that, make sure everybody understood that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We tried to carry over as much of them as we could and maintain the accounting structure, but occasionally we had to add some new accounting units.
Okay. Councilman Lazard, you have the floor, sir.
So halfway through the page, total personnel costs, item 2735122, 70907, contractual services, the 120% increase.
That would be the stormwater
That's,
management.
yes, that's
fund,
the drainage
contractor.
initiative project that we have, and those projected millage that we anticipate collecting goes into that account, and then any additional monies from the previous year would carry to that as well. And as Lori was mentioning earlier, as projects are evolve, that money is moved into the line right above that on an individual basis per project, just to manage it.
When contractual services to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but contractual services to me means outsourcing, if you will, for lack of better terminology. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
absolutely, and those are outsourced, those particular projects. That is the large-scale cleaning of the coulees and other maintenance projects, but a lot of that is contracted out with specialized equipment that the LCG does not own.
And we're doing, okay, I guess this has to do with the extensive undertaking that we've taken on with the work we're doing this year?
I'm sorry?
So we're anticipating doing twice the amount in contractual services in the 2020 budget year as we're doing this year?
Not really.
Okay.
What they do with that money is they have it in contractual services. When they name a project, a maintenance project that they want to go do, then they move it up to the line above. So the line above is budgeted at 0, but the line you're looking at is budgeted at 2.8 million. So once that project is named and assigned, the money gets moved to the line above and then gets funneled through that money. So you can see they estimated in the current budget to do 8 million in that line item. Last year, they actually did 4 million in that line item.
I don't know if we're looking at the same thing.
Just right above it.
Is right?
The line item right above it. Right above contractual service, drainage, maintenance,
Oh,
project
okay.
summary.
Performer, okay. So these are projects that we've identified that we're going to do in the 2020 budget year?
They're not necessarily identified as of yet, but we do have a priority rating system, and we do have the bulk of that completed as far as prioritization. And then what happens, we try to put 4 or 5 projects, lump them together. We've learned that is a best approach to bringing costs down, being effective. It attracts the contractors for bidding purposes. We get a lot of competitive bidding that way, as opposed to doing individual projects one at a time. We'll lump them together. You might have 3 or 4 channel or drainage projects. They may be in close vicinity of one another. It's a benefit of logistic purposes. Mobilization is very expensive, so it kind of minimizes those things, and it's just an efficient way of doing things.
Okay.
Looks like he's taken all of the money that's generated by that stormwater management millage, and then maybe a little left over from the prior year.
Okay, that's the point I was trying to arrive at. Okay, thank you.
Okay. State your name and title for official record. I'll skip that part, please.
Sure. My name is Brian Smith, and I'm the Director of Drainage.
All right. Cool deal. Now we're going to move to page 185. 185. 185. Okay, not seeing anything. 186. 186. 186. Okay, not seeing anything. Let's move to the 5-year capital, starting on page 282.
Page 282 is the parish-wide projects. So here's where you see the parish capital.
And for drainage, I think it's 54, item number 54.
Secondary drainage parish, is that what you're saying? Nothing on 282. Okay. Moving to page 288.
And there are 3 on that page. Project number 69, 72, and 73.
Hit the button. Oh, okay. Don't worry about it. Don't look. I'll do it right here. Don't worry about it. Go ahead, Luce.
Okay, Brian,
Yes, sir.
urban asphalt overlay. Oh, you on drainage, not page? Okay, I'm sorry. I'll get you in drainage, that's right.
Okay. Anything on 288? Seeing none, let's go to Capital 311.
Let me just bring you back to page 291. There's no new capital in there for the bond program, but, Mr. Lewis, that's where you were requesting to see the drainage projects in the bond program, and you could see the current projects with balances on page 291, under the section titled Bond Drainage.
Okay, 311. Page 311. Any questions on Capital 311 before I move forward? Good.
Laura, can I go back to 291?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 216 on the bond drainage. And also, yeah, well, I'll take one at a time. I just want to make sure there's any or no funding in there?
No, that's Sunbeam Drainage.
Yes.
Sunbeam Drainage, Sunbeam Cooley says phase 1, 2, and 3. It looks like there was a balance when we did this in April of $636,000.
Okay, so where's the funding?
It's in there, $636,000.
In there? Okay, and 217 in there, $3 million
Yes, sir.
in there. Okay, because I'm noticing 2021, the proposed is nothing.
There's no additional
Additional,
money
okay.
being added,
Okay.
but there's none being taken away
Okay.
either.
All right,
So you would see either a positive or a negative
Okay.
number right there.
okay. I just want, my constituent and myself to know. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
it's still there and it's not being touched.
And just for the record, when we're looking at page 282 and we're looking at those that you see zero projected in the future, there's none, but there is a balance, and that's probably because the projects are still not complete.
Yes.
And those funds are there. So just to, just for nobody says, oh, well, look, there's some money from this project, let me move it to this one. Those projects haven't been completed yet. That's just the remaining fund balance.
Right. If we're moving money from one project to another, you would see a negative sign in that
Right.
column where we would be taking it away.
Exactly. Okay, no more on 311. Let's go to the Manning table, 336. Any questions on 336? Brian, any new hirees? Did we add some people? Talk to me.
Yes, I have, sir.
That's awesome. We were able to pay for it with the millage too, right? That's great, because I think one of the other council meetings, I had mentioned to administration that, we getting a bunch of calls and we were behind on requests of service, but you can only do so much with 3 drainage crews. So happy to hear that you have hired. Talk to me. How many people have we hired, or what are we doing?
I'm proposing to add 8 equipment operated 2s. That's dump truck support. Currently, right now, we generally have 1 truck assigned per crew, so you have a 30-minute to an hour turnaround once you load a truck excavating roadside ditches. So there's a lot of standing around, basically. Not to their fault, but
Right.
it's just one of those things, and it's logistical purposes. Excuse me.
Gotcha. Instead of
And-
them sitting there waiting, downtime, waiting on another, yeah, you got more.
We
more
want
calls.
to have that domino effect, keep back and forth, back and
Yeah.
forth.
That's great. Okay, I'd like to hear that. Councilman Nakane.
I have to say I witnessed that today on Tolson Road. Truck leaves, everything parks, everybody sits and waits for the truck to get back. So it's important that you get that. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be a good thing to have.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Create efficiency.
Exactly. Okay, anybody else has anything on 336 and 337? Going once, going twice. This item is sold. All right, any public comment? Brian, any closing remarks?
I just want to say thank y'all for your support. We have a new department by itself. We missed the opening remark, but
Go ahead, you can open and close
I'll
with
do
it.
an open and close. I'm here today because, like I said, we have a new department. Public Works was reorganized, and I'm glad to be part of this team. The primary goal was to solely dedicate this one department to drainage and maintain that focus so we can provide better service to the city and parish residents and businesses. And I also want to commend my staff as well. We do a lot more with less. We hear that all the time. So having these extra people on board, I think is going to make a world of difference. And not only we're going to see it, the public's going to see it as well. And also want to note that the reorg is working very well. We have a real close relationship with our fellow directors. I work constantly still with Public Works. We support one another. Traffic, roads, and bridges as well. We all operate as one during emergency situations, storms. Also Mardi Gras. When Mardi Gras comes around, we all pitch in and we all help each other out.
Hope we can have a Mardi Gras next year.
I hope we do. And I thank y'all for your time today and working with y'all in the future as well.
Thank you, Brian. I'm sorry for getting you and Chad mixed up. I'm so used to of it being one department, I would call Chad, but I needed to be with you or vice versa. So thank you for having patience with this Knock-in gentleman right here.
We on speed dial, so it works out.
I got you. I know. Thank you for having my number. Councilman Knock-in.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Brian, I see you have in the capital that you're getting 3 more trucks, so that's going to give you a total of 5 trucks? 6 trucks, rather?
That's on the tandem dump truck? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
What page is that again?
311, sir. It's the third
It's
item on your
replacing, I have replacing
Second.
1 and 401, and also replacing,
capital. Oh, you're replacing, okay.
yes. The department has 15 total. So we just trying to get some of the older ones. We have some 20-plus-year-old.
I was just curious in relation to the amount of equipment to operators. I think you said that was the drivers for the trucks, the dump trucks and stuff. Is that correct?
Yes.
How many trucks will you have and how many drivers will you have?
Right now, previously I only have, I think, 5 equipment-operated 2s that operate trucks.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope to bump that up to where we can have 6 crews total with excavator operators, the dump truck, 2 dump truck operators each, and 3 groundmen flagging and person kind of looking out for utilities and providing grade shots.
Is there possibly a need for you to outsource some of these truck drivers, get dump trucks from private companies to come haul for you guys? Is that necessary? Is that a need?
It is. We actually have one under contract right now that's working with us, and we have saw an increase in production.
Yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to go that route if you need to, especially since you may have any contractual services and stuff where you could work with that. So,
Yes, sir. We definitely
Mr. Smith, thank you so much. Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Moving forward, guys, I'll slow down for y'all. I don't want to move forward and go back, so I want to try to keep this thing moving. But if I need to slow down, I'll keep offering more time for us to ask those questions. So, okay, no, it's just no problem. It's all good. Nobody's in trouble. Nobody's getting punished. It's just a recommendation. Okay, let's move on now to traffic, roads, and bridges.
So,
Mr. Warren.
Joseph, if you could go to my,
Did you win awards for your
chart.
pie charts and stuff?
No award for the pie charts, but if you really knew the work that goes into making sure these pie charts equal the proper numbers, it's a lot of work, and I do appreciate the staff that works on this. The Traffic, Roads, and Bridges Department is primarily funded through millage money. 56% of this budget is coming from the parish-wide millage, and there is also a city-dedicated millage for streets and bridges. The city millage brings in about $2 million. So both of those millages make up most of this department. There are some small amounts that are allocated. There is the city has a pay-as-you-go capital fund. In that pay-as-you-go capital fund, they have a staff of engineering development people that work in that fund. That's not paid from the city general fund, that is paid from the city capital fund. But we take and we allocate the cost of those engineers, so that way the parish pays a portion of their salary, and that's allocated 79% to the city pay-as-you-go capital fund and 21% to the road and bridge fund, the parish-wide road and bridge fund. There is also some money in here that's allocated for engineering, traffic engineering maintenance. That's allocated 67% to the city, 33% to the road and bridge fund. And then there's another small portion that is allocated to the parish for traffic signal maintenance. There's not as many traffic signals in the parish. Really? So that is primarily paid by the city general fund, and that's 99% for the city.
All right. Thank you so much at this time. I would defer to the Interim Director, Mr. Warren Adderby, for opening comments.
Officially the director.
Officially.
Give the
Okay.
respect that man.
Well, hold up. I am reading my prompter from my, okay? All right?
Hey, put some respect on his
Hey. You're going to be interim if I don't get no more street signs. I'm just joking. Y'all good, y'all good.
We know you can read.
I can't do that. I'm just following what Veronica had put. But yes, Warren, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
being the official director.
I am.
All right. All right. Look, I ain't gonna lie. Look, what it say right there? What it say right there?
It just says Director Warren Adderby.
She lying.
Yeah, I know.
Stop going
She lying.
back to it. Let's go.
All right. And I'm not gonna ask Mr. Gilbo because he ain't got his glass. He can't read, so we're good. I'm hurt on both sides.
I am Warren Abity, the non-interim Director of Traffic, Roads, and Bridges.
There you go.
I just wanted to start by thanking the administration for giving me the opportunity to serve. It's not something I take for granted. I don't have to serve, I get to serve, and that is the attitude I try to portray to my people. I definitely want to publicly thank my department for the work they do, their commitment. I find it inspiring for me to do as good a job as I can to be their leader. I definitely want to second Brian's comments and say that the split of public works into 3 dedicated different departments is working. It always helps that our 3 directors really get along. We generally like each other. We see it as a team. And so I'm happy to that, and it's fun to work with these guys.
That's a great comment because you're the official director now. I like that. It's working. It's working.
So besides that, I just appreciate the resources y'all entrust in my department, and we'll do what we can to do our best with them.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate what you do. I've worked with you for several years, and you've always been first class, you and Brian and the whole crew. So we'll get started here on page 190. Or Ms. Toops, do you have any opening comments or anything?
Yeah, I missed the budget amendment, I believe, for the
I'm going to come back to it after we're done with this. I'll come back and get you amendments
you.
in. I just was thinking the same thing, but I can't go back because I told them we can't go back.
Can't go back.
So I got to wait till we're finished.
I'll put it with my housekeeping items, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Any comments in regards to traffic, roads, and bridges?
Nope.
You good? Okay. All right, let's start on page 190. 190. 190, roads and bridges. Not seeing anything so far on 190. Let's go to page 191. Councilman Andy Nakane, you have the floor, sir.
I apologize for being so slow in the draw there. Mr. Abity, on your project Go Mo, line items 2605-124-71017, you have budgeted $150,000. Out of curiosity, what do you estimate we're going to save in services through the city and our parish fund by, contracting out so far $150,000?
So the exact savings may not be the best metric because previous years we had sheriff crews and they were a day rate, and so we would have to calculate, how much they do in a day.
That's true.
I think increase in production is probably a better metric.
Okay.
There's no doubt that I'm excited about the state of getting the grass cut in the parish and the city currently, and this system was a vital part of
Are you
making
able
that
to
happen.
eliminate some equipment, some expenses because of this?
I don't believe so. There's so much grass to cut that my crews stay busy all the
Anyway,
time.
okay.
And we're using Project GoMo
So
to supplement the areas that we wouldn't normally
Basically,
be
what we
able to
did is we got rid of the sheriffs and we took up the Project
Yes.
Gomo private.
Yeah,
I saw him doing
Yes, sir.
some good work in the area, even some of the, and they're actually working in some of the parks I see.
that's right.
Thank you, Mr. Abity.
Yes, sir.
Okay, still on 191. Anybody else? 191. Okay. Councilwoman Ms. Eber, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Looking at page 191 at the bottom, 2605-224-70904-0, Mardi Gras expense income, well, never mind, I just answered my own question. Never mind.
Okay, no problem. All right, we're going to go to page 192, and before we get started, there's an amendment that you would like to bring up.
Yeah, the
Attorney-
one you just put to the side, I explained that it's in reference to this budget, right? The one for
Attorney
traffic roads
reminded
and
me that
bridges.
we'll do it at the Manning
Oh, okay.
table.
Oh, at the Manning table, okay.
So I didn't miss it after all.
All right, we're on 192. Anything on 192? 192. Okay. I will move now to page 193. 193. 193. Anything on 193? Okay, I'm not seeing any. We're going to move to 194. Page 194. $194, seeing none. All right, let's go to 5-year capital, 282. $282.
Projects number 1, 10, 13, and 18.
Say that again, dear.
1, 10, 13, and 18.
Councilwoman Liz Hebert, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a question about number 10. I see that, is that a reduction I'm seeing, Warren? on
Yes,
number
it is.
10?
It is a reduction.
Is there, can you explain the reason for the reduction?
We get a lot of federal money through the Canadian Planning Commission to use federal money to do pavement markings on federally aid highway streets. And that's been recurring every year, and so we get quite a bit of pavement markings done through that avenue, all the major streets. And so that allows us to cut back on the money that we spend for our money to do other streets.
Okay.
So we should be fine with that amount, even though it's a reduction.
Okay, as long as you were comfortable with it.
I am.
And then, I didn't hear Veronica say 1 or 2, even though that's streets, are we not talking about numbers, I'm sorry, 2 and 3? Asphalt overlay?
So the asphalt overlay program is handled by the CID projects under Public Works.
Okay, then I'll wait for that. Thank you.
Councilman Lewis. You have
Mr. Abady, 13, unimproved streets. Can you define that for me? When you say unimproved streets, meaning?
Yeah, my understanding is we buy material to do gravel streets, to improve gravel streets, using that money. Buy material with that and then use our in-house crews to grade it.
Okay. Well, I have another item. I'll come back to that
Okay.
later. I will come back, but I'll discuss it later.
Mr. Lewis, that's on the parish level. You may be interested in the city a little bit later.
Any other, on 282? Real quick, speed, that goes to the other department, or you handle the speed bumps?
No, speed lumps would be us.
Okay.
It's historically, it could go in either budget, but historically comes in ours.
So I remember a while back, you mentioned that if we had a subdivision or somebody that was interested in speed humps, there was a process, a program that they would go through, get a petition, and we had money for that.
So there is a process with the petition. It's a traffic calming policy, but the money would only be appropriated whenever they completed the process.
Correct. And where is that money coming from? What fund or what does that come under?
It would depend on the location, and we would propose it whenever somebody successfully completes the program. We would figure it out then.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
there's
so they
no
go-
pot sitting now, if that's what you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's go to page 287, still five-year capital. 287.
Page 287 is the city pay-as-you-go. That's the city capital fund.
Councilman Lewis.
Okay, Mr. Aberdeen, number 9, concrete street repairs. Okay, I have a street in the district, it's in the city, there's gravel, and I like to amendment or something to put in about, I have a cost around $300,000 for a street, Rose Lane.
So this concrete street repair is also handled through capital projects through Public Works. To repair concrete streets in the city, usually major concrete streets.
So being that I have a street in the city that's gravel, I couldn't use some of that funds for that?
I believe
That's
you
going to
could.
come up in the next, in the Public Works budget, that project.
Okay.
On this page is number
Chair.
3.
Wait on
Numbers-
the chair.
Number 3, number 7, number 23, 29, 35 and 36, and 41. And all these projects are handled by Warren and his department, Traffic, Roads, and Bridges.
Can you read those numbers one more time?
Yes, ma'am. Number 3, 7, 23, 29, 35 and 36, and 41.
Okay.
So the numbers that she read to you, those are projects that are either getting increases or decreases in this budget. Just to be clear, there may be other projects on this list, but if no changes are happening, she would not have called out the number.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Councilman Lazard?
I'm going to kind of piggyback on the question Kevin asked about traffic calming devices or speed humps or whatever the new name for them are today. I understand at one time there was a pool of money that was available for traffic calming devices. Now I'm looking through the budget and I see certain districts have funds in an account, I guess, and others do not. Can somebody explain to me how that works? So if I wanted to set aside some funds for traffic calming devices in my district, I'm assuming I'd have to pull some money from somewhere else to go into an account.
Yeah, so historically, when a councilman or woman wanted to have traffic calming in their district, they would create an account that would have the amount of money necessary to complete whatever project they had in their mind. And then they would create the account, pull the money from somewhere else, put the money in the budget, and then we would go do it.
Okay. Well, since we're on this page, I'm looking at number 9, concrete street repairs. And it seems to me that we try to maintain a running balance of roughly 3.3 million. because we're pulling, seems like we have a balance. We started out with 3.3 million, we have a balance, now we add another 850,000 to that account. So we just try to maintain a running balance of roughly 3 million in this account, or what?
So that account is handled by the Public Works Department and the project controls, so I'd have to defer to
The
them.
next budget.
It's all the same pot of funds, of city money. It's just handled by a different division.
Department, right.
Okay. So, okay, you say it's coming up next?
Yes,
And
sir.
Yeah.
The concrete street repairs for Public Works. It would not happen within that line item, yeah.
There is no line item, that's my
Yeah.
point. That's my point, I'm trying to create one for my district,
Yeah.
So
that's my point.
in creating it would be under Warren, but I guess what Warren's saying is maybe you want to wait till the next department comes up to ask him what the status of this money is,
Okay.
and then at that time, you can decide whether you want
Okay.
Yeah.
to move
I
it.
can't speak to the effect of taking it from there.
Okay.
You may want to ask Public Works the effect.
Well, I've identified several possible sources, so
Okay.
they're all on this page. So that would all roll over to,
I would think maybe after the Public Works Director speaks, that
okay,
we would have heard from all three, that would be a
Okay.
good time.
that's cool.
Good with that?
And I'll happily come back up if I need. If you need. I'll be happy to come back up if you need.
Councilman Liz Avery, you have the floor.
Yeah.
Warren, since there's some questions about traffic calming, do you mind, I know we're in the budget process, but I think it's going to be important for all the council members because we have so many new ones here, is to explain how that process works for their constituents. If they call them and say, I want a speed bump, lump, hump, bump on my street,
Gotcha.
what is the process?
Yeah, so.
Explain that.
So Traffic Roads and Bridges has an official policy on traffic calming. It lines out all the steps necessary. If somebody wants traffic calming in their neighborhood, it generally means they have a couple rounds of petitions. We do studies. We use the studies to justify whether the traffic calming device would come in or not, or whether it's warranted. If they successfully complete that process, we would sponsor an amendment to come before y'all to ask for the funding to fund that traffic calming program, that plan. That's one path. The other path historically is that the councilman, for whatever reason, it got stalled in that process, whether the residents didn't want to do all the work necessary, or whether we found that it wasn't warranted. And in that case, if the council person appropriated the money and the line showed up in our budget, we would put in the speed lumps.
Everybody got that? Okay.
And so historically, there was two paths.
Okay.
Okay. And I guess my question, but I guess confirm for me, is number 3, is that you or is that Public Works?
Number 3 is me. That's used to buy asphalt gravel supplies.
Okay.
For our
Am I
in-house
understanding
crews.
that's a reduction, or is that an addition from last year's budget?
Yes,
Yes, it's a reduction or it's an addition?
yes, it's both. You see the reduction in the changes to existing work orders?
Right.
It's reducing $1,588. I need to see if we can print this just a little bit smaller next year, right?
Won't hurt my young eyes.
And then it's an increase in the 2021 proposed.
Okay.
So in trying to balance the current year, we did decrease it a little, and
Got it. All right, perfect, thank you. That works for me.
Okay. Councilman Andy Nakane, you have the floor, sir.
Mr. Abbott, one other question regarding the traffic calming devices.
Yes, sir.
In the process of applying for them and getting them approved, does there not also have to be a petition signed by 50% plus one of the residences are there that are affected by the traffic calming devices?
So in the path where we go through the traffic calming policy, yes, there's actually two different petitions that have to be signed at two different steps in the policy.
Yeah, so like one resident can't force it on 100 residents, is what you're saying.
Using that policy, that's correct.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Finish with 287, let's go to 288. What items you want to call out, Ms. Williams?
Yes, sir. Number 48, 52, and 80. 48, 52, 80.
Terry.
Councilman Pat Lewis has the floor.
Mr. Abbott, the tree removal, does that mean that it has to be in the right-of-ways, not just on personal property or vacant property or adjudicated property?
Tree removal would have to be on public rights-of-way,
Right-of-way.
or be deemed a public hazard. But typically, it's on public rights-of-way, yes.
And how does it reflect when we're talking about adjudicated properties?
I may have to defer to legal on that. I'm really not sure.
That's legal.
It may be a question we may have to get back with you on.
Okay. Because I have a lot of adjudicated property in the district, and there's some trees that fell, and no one is taking care of it, so I just...
I can find out, I don't know now.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Councilman Lazard, you have the floor, sir.
Warren, the 80 sidewalk and curb repairs. Am I reading this correct, or are we reducing the amount that's going to be available for sidewalk and curb repairs in the projected budget?
So,
We
Yes.
adding or reducing? It says,
We're reducing the current year,
Reducing the
but
current year.
increasing next year.
yeah.
okay. Just, thank you.
All right. Okay. Now we're on page 289. And what are those numbers, Ms. Williams? You're doing a great job calling them out. Thank you.
Only 108. Thank you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome.
He's not blaming me for something. So.
Hey, you're doing a good job, V.
Got 'em.
Okay, 108. Anybody need a report on property renovations? Is that Allen Parish or was it Allen?
Allen Cannon property, the property next to the Public Works yard.
Oh. Cool. You good?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. All right.
Well, actually, sorry. Can you explain that project a little bit more? Is it a piece of property that the city owns that we are repairing, or what are we doing with that?
So I may have to, this is a project that's been going on for a while that I kind of inherited.
So what is the project?
Congratulations, see your new job.
Yeah. It looks like most of it's done with only $3,000 left that's being taken. I can get you an answer, I just don't have one.
Okay, for wrap-up, can you give me information on what the project actually entails and how much longer we have in the project? And if
Okay.
that 3,000 can be moved somewhere else? I'd like that for wrap-up, please.
That 3,000
3,000
is
is
being
being
moved to somewhere else. That's why it's a negative
That's why it's a
3,000,
negative.
because
Okay.
we're taking it away.
Where are we moving it to?
It had to be reduced to balance this year's budget.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, I'd still like that information at wrap-up, though.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilman. Ms. Liz, now we will go to Capital 311. 311. Anybody have anything? Capital. At the bottom. 311. Capital outlay 470.
And some of these are duplicated
Yep.
because they're on the 5-year and then they're once again here.
That's why I'm on page 312. I am rolling. 312, anything? Seeing none. 313. 313. 313 going once. 313. Okay, I'm not seeing anything. Let's move to the Manning table, 337, area code, page number 337.
On page 337, we do have an amendment. You want to go ahead and explain that, or?
Yeah, the position all the way at the bottom of 337, City Parish Transportation Engineer. Position is the position I held last year that I was promoted out of to the Director of Traffic Roads and Bridges.
So we want to remove that position because you're not hiring
Yes,
yourself?
we can remove that position.
We have a motion to make that amendment?
No motion.
We don't need a motion, we need a general amendment. All right, we have a general amendment. Any objections?
So we will remove that position. We will list it in the general amendments, and it will have the salary along with corresponding benefits and the reductions.
Okay. All right, we have that in there. Councilman Lazard?
Warren, just a question as to why are we removing that position? Determination was made, we don't need it, or what? Why are we
So
removing it?
that position, a lot of the functions of that position, I have a younger engineer in my office that's being trained currently to take on the majority of those roles. And so I feel that he could take on much of the roles of that position, and I could retain some of my old roles. And so I believe it's better to just let that naturally happen and let this position go back.
So there won't be no effect on services or reduction in services?
I don't believe so. I think in the end, it'll be very efficient.
Okay. We were on page 337, number 338. Councilman Rubin
Yes.
has entered the building. You have the floor, sir.
All right, and the salary of your engineer, is gonna be the same salary, or is it gonna be less?
No, the engineer I was referring to is the position above that, the electrical engineer 2. He is currently an employee and employed by us.
Okay, cool.
Okay. 338, anything? All right. I am seeing none. Any public comments? Mr. Warren Abbott, congratulations again. Do you have any closing remarks, sir, as the director?
I'm good. I just thank y'all.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. You've been wonderful. All right.
Thank you.
Moving right along. Now we will bring up Public Works. And Ms. Laurie, you can please give your open comments and remarks.
Yes, let's look at this pie chart and imagine what it looked like before we divided the departments. Because after we divided the departments, this is what Public Works looks like today. He gets money from all over the place. Well, as we go through your budget, you'll see there are still a lot of divisions under Chad's authority. It includes everything from transit to environmental services, several different things, the parking fund, and some of the road and bridge maintenance fund. So as we go through it, you'll see that, and I'll answer any questions that you may have.
All
I
right.
think he's got an amendment too in his, when we get to the Manning table.
Okay. And just remind me before we wrap up today to put all those other amendments you wanted to, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, please introduce yourself as the director, Mr. Chad Naveau. Opening comments, please, or any remarks before we get started.
Yeah, well, good afternoon. Chad Naveau, Director of Public Works. Certainly happy to be here this afternoon with you guys and answer questions. Once again, I want to thank all of your support over the last 6 months. I didn't really embark on taking this job, looking for this job, but when the mayor president came in and he had a need, he had vision, and I was approached and I was humbled by it, and certainly happy to be here and try to offer, the best service we can get out of Public Works. And I know from being there many years that we have a very committed, talented group of employees in Public Works. Even though we've split up, all those guys are really good, and some of which are here and maybe be here a little later. So once again, I just say, I appreciate the support I've gotten since day one. So thanks again.
Quite welcome. Thank you so much. We will start on page 282. 5-year capital. I'm going off of what was written. I'm going on.
Yesterday.
Yeah, 166. Maybe.
166.
On him.
Man. go to page 166. 166. Thank you, V. 166.
I do have an amendment for that page.
I see the amendments. I wanted to ask when that would be the appropriate time.
Gotcha.
Let me know is what I'm saying. So we're on page 166.
I think he has the amendment, the one that has 166 on the forwarding column, the longer amendment, the biggest.
You can do it now or at the Manning tables, whatever you like.
Let's do it now. Let's go.
Okay.
Talk to us about it.
I
What we
thought
doing?
I had a lot of friends, and apparently we had one person who didn't want me to have any O&M in the director's office. He pulled everything out and gave it to traffic. So the amendment is to rebudget the O&M section of the director's office.
Okay. Anybody want to offer that as a general amendment?
It is labeled Amendment Number 5 for your reference.
Yep, I have it right here. Amendment to the rebudget Public Works Director's O&M accounts in Public Works Director section. We have the general amendment being offered by Councilman Nakhan. Andy Nakhan, that is. Any objection? No objections. That will be entered as a general amendment.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. 166, any questions? 166. Yeah, they zeroed out everything. 167. Page 167. Okay. Seeing none on 167, let's go to is there an amendment for 167 though? Page 167.
We can do it at the Manning
Yeah,
table
this one
level.
can be done. The meeting table.
Okay. 168, page 168. Seeing none. 169, page 169. 169. Seeing none, 170, page 170. Okay, page 171. 171. Councilman Liz Hebert, you have the floor.
I would have assumed that this would have gone under Warren, but we all know what assuming does, so I'm just going to ask the question. Is under Rosa Parks Transportation Center, it is the second one, 2035144, 63000-0 equipment maintenance. We have an increase of 135.79%. Is this Warren or is this you, Chad?
No, this is under facility maintenance,
It's under facility maintenance,
Yeah.
Warren?
which is me.
Which is you, yes. You all do something so similar. Okay, can you give me a little bit more information on the equipment maintenance part? What it's
Yeah,
for?
that's a service contract that we enter in to protect the pumps for the chiller system. We installed a new HVAC system.
Okay,
So the pumps are existing, but to make sure we have, efficient maintenance for the whole system, this contract's going to provide the regular maintenance on the pumps.
okay, so that's a reoccurring cost then?
That is.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir.
Okay. That's the bottom of page 171, so we will go to page 172. 172. Moving to 173, page 173 now. Moving to Councilman Lazard, you have the floor.
Yeah, at top of 173, 2675147-89000 capital outlay.
So we'll see the details of that in the capital outlay section that is for the War Memorial Building.
Okay.
You said we'll see details later.
When we get to the 5-year capital.
Five-year cap. Okay.
Okay. 173, one more time. 174. 174, page 174. I have a question. 702-5161. I know it's uninsured losses. I'm just curious why we went from 3,000 to 104,000. So we plan on getting hurt?
So the uninsured losses, we budget that based on actual losses that have been incurred in the department.
So we
They're-
went from
they're
79 to
budgeted-
3, so then we put more in there to get back where we at.
Right. And in the budget ordinance, we do have a clause in there that restricts us from moving that money around on you later
Okay.
on. So it's got to stay in that in order to be added to that line item or to come out of that line item. It does have to come back before the council.
No problem. 174. Seeing none. 175, page 175. 175. Seeing none. 176, page number 176. 176. Seeing none. 177, page 177. Seeing none. Page 178. Page 178. 178. Seeing none. 179. Page 179. 179. Seeing none. Page 180. Councilwoman Liz Hebert, you have the floor, dear.
On page 180, I am looking at number, make sure I'm looking at this right, reading the right numbers, 297-5950, 70915-0 contractual services credit card. Is this, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the parking garage, right? Because if I recall, Warren was working on this last year for budget. This is the same item?
Yeah, there is a card reader to pay your fees at the garage, but there's also, our meters can take credit cards now. So these fees are, this line item is associated with the fees we collect for the credit card use.
So this is the credit card fees that we're receiving, or is this still the,
Expenses.
okay, these are the charges. Okay, that works. Thank you.
So it's not your credit card to go eat lunch and stuff like that?
Afraid not.
Department. Okay, just checking. All right, 180, page 180. Anything else on 180? All right, now let's move to, and I'm not even going off of my sheet.
Let's
'Cause I
go
get
to
it wrong.
page 282.
Yeah, now we talk.
I'm going to make sure I don't lie to Mr. Lazard, and we can see, we'll see the memorial capital, War Memorial Capital on 283, Mr. Lazard.
I'll start on page 282, though.
On page 282, we're looking at numbers 3, 4, 5, 25, 27, 29, 36, 49, and 50.
Councilwoman Liz Hebert, you have the floor.
I noticed that on number 2, it was zeroed out for city overlay.
So it's not zeroed out, it still is carrying a balance, we're not changing, we're not reducing. If we were reducing it, you would see a negative number there, so it's still carrying a balance of 450. Now, there also may be some in city pay-as-you-go.
there, you said, did you say there may be? or-
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Okay. I'd like to keep an eye on that, so if you can let me know whenever we get there. So what does that mean for overlay projects for 2021 as far as budget? Does that remain that same in number?
This is the parish.
I'm sorry.
It's parish, but
Never
it does
mind. No.
say overlay reconstruction city.
Oh, it does say that.
So it's from the parish-wide millage, so it's just a small amount. I would guess that that's probably a fairly old account, and it's running just that balance of 450. I think that any of the newer money would have been in the city pay-as-you-go on page 287.
Okay.
On number 5, asphalt streets preserve parish, 1.2,175,000. You got a list of roads in the parish we overlaying for that amount?
Yeah, all of these accounts, as you can see, there's activity. I see there's remaining balances. We have like 4 overlay projects under construction right now. We have 2 more getting ready to get started.
In the unincorporated area?
Parish and city, yes.
This is the parish portion, though.
Yeah. Yeah, we have, we're going to have 3 in the parish and 3 in the city within the next probably 6 weeks, all at the same time. Some are wrapping up and some are getting ready to get started.
And this is with our money, not the MPO or anything like that?
No, that's correct. Actually, there's 1 MPO project and then there was a, that's right. That's the MPO, yeah. 7 altogether.
Can you get me a list for wrap-up of what's the name of those roads and like identify, or if you know them right now, just tell me.
Actually, we got 253 roads
The whole
that are going to be.
department laughed at you.
I figured that.
Yeah, that was a trick question.
That was a big question, I
That was
know.
a big question. Yeah, I do have the list.
Just get the parish council, or if the city council wants it, or all of us, just a list of
Yeah.
of what's getting done.
I still have the floor.
We did share the interactive GIS tool where we're actually, as the projects are bid out, we're adding all the roads on this tool where you can actually see start to finish, where the road is being overlaid. So that is available at your fingertips, so to speak. And we'll be adding another 2 projects within the next probably a couple of weeks because getting ready to get started on 2 more. But we can still get you the hard copy if you'd like.
So I was going to actually, I still have the floor, and I was going to request that for wrap-up for city and parish separately, overlay projects in a GIS format. Thanks.
Okay, no problem.
I'm done.
Councilwoman Cook, you have the floor.
Yes, I have a question on that line item, this number 2 line item about the reconstruction city. Okay, can you clarify, are those for funds to be used in reconstruction of a city street? Or so I just so happen to have a city street, and so I wasn't sure if that could be used for that particular, or do we have that, is that 450 already earmarked for something else?
It says city, I would have to defer to the department, but as I mentioned earlier, I'm thinking that's an older project. So maybe the department can follow up with you at wrap-up to see if that money is designated for something or not.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Do you know, Chad, right off?
Yeah, well, like I said, we have currently multiple overlay and reconstruction projects under construction. The project names would probably not correspond exactly to what's in this book, so I could tell you I could associate the project that's under construction with this account more than likely, because I know they're under construction.
So it's already spoken for, I'm sure, like 10 times.
Yeah, it's currently,
probably.
it's ongoing, that's correct.
Okay,
But
all right. But
I can
I'd
get
still
the
like to
information.
request that for wrap-up, if possible. Thank you.
All right. Oh, okay. All right. We're done with page 282. Let's go to page 283.
On page 283, the projects that are being changed under this department are number 62, 68, 69, 70, 72, and 83 is the War Memorial Building, the 100,000. HVAC.
Councilman Lewis, you have the floor, sir.
On 83 War Memorial, okay, I see, yeah, he's back, building C, okay. No, thank you.
Okay. All right. Anybody else on 283? Let's go to 287.
287, we got quite a few on here. Do y'all have this list, or would you like me to read them out? I'll read them out. Number 1, number 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 25, 26, 27, 30, 31, 33, 34, 38, 39, 40.
Okay, 287, Councilwoman Ms. Liz Aber, you have the floor, dear.
I know that our charter says that road projects can't, I'm trying to remember the exact verbiage, if funded for 3 years, without disbursement of funds, that we should be removing the funding. Can I get an updated list on the last time any of the current projects, whether they're on here or not? Because I know we have a lot of road projects that might not be listed on here. Tell me if there are any that are gone without disbursement over 3 years.
Yeah, we can get you that list.
At wrap up. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Okay, you got that, Dee? All right.
And Mr. Chair, I wanted to make note that Mr. Lazar had asked about the concrete street repairs. That's item number 9 on this page.
Okay, and Councilman, I'll get to that. Councilman Lewis, you have the floor.
Okay, Chad, on number 9, concrete street repairs, I have a street in my district, which is in the city. I would like to make an amendment to move, I have a cost estimate to have it concrete, cement, asphalt.
Okay, so you have a cost estimate?
Yeah, I have a cost estimate.
Oh, you have one, okay.
Yeah.
Well, historically, like, again, this funding is used specifically to fix existing concrete roads. If you
Not
want to
new ones.
reconstruct a gravel road,
Yeah,
you're actually
reconstruct.
creating a new road.
Right,
Essentially,
right.
so.
Right.
I'm not sure if this money could be used for that, but I
That's
suppose
all,
it could be moved. It
that's
could be
all
moved.
city 401 money.
Okay.
So anything in Fund 401 could be used for 401 purposes.
Now, I tell you, the reason there's a larger balance currently, this is some carryover from previous years, but we had a big project we bid out in January, and there was a legal issue between the low bidder and the second bidder. It delayed getting us started, but just in the last 3 weeks, there was a settlement with the bidders. So we're getting ready to get started with a very large citywide repair project and currently working on the next phase. So again, I mean, what we'll have to do is make sure we communicate.
Yeah, that's
to
fine. We
that
can
extent,
communicate
so I
it.
can make sure I don't.
Sure. Yeah, just go ahead and put it in there, and then we can communicate from there.
So
Ms.
based on,
Oh, I was going to ask him what was the road or the Indian
Rose
amount.
Lane. The road name is Rose Lane,
Rose Lane.
right?
so based on Chad's recommendation, I think, or his discussion, I would recommend that you not touch the current balance, that you only touch the future money, which would be in the 2021 column.
Okay,
That would be that
that'd be
850.
fine, do it 21 column,
Is this a new road or an overlay?
new road. I mean, it's a gravel road right now. It's a gravel road in the city.
A gravel road in the city?
Yeah, it's a gravel road in the city.
Did you give us the amount?
300,000.
So you want us to reduce concrete street repairs for 2021 by 300,000 and add,
The 300,000,
what's the name of the road again? I'm
Rose
sorry.
Lane.
Rose Lane.
Correct.
That would be an upgrade from gravel to concrete.
Right, yes, sir.
Or
Well, asphalt,
More than
asphalt,
likely asphalt.
right.
Okay.
So that'll move forward as a general amendment?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm asking first, any objections? No objections? No objections. So it'll move forward as a general amendment. Councilman Lazard.
Yeah, going back to this, going back to this particular line item, I'd asked a question earlier about the amount that's contained, and I think you partially answered it about a major road project that
Yes.
that we just bid it out. Can you give us I'm trying to find some funds for to create a traffic calming device account for my district, okay? And this is one of the areas that I was looking at, pulling some funds from. So, do you have a cost estimate for the major road project you're referring to, so we could know exactly what we're dealing with in terms of a balance?
Well, I can tell you that we do have we have over 30 projects under construction currently. Some of them will be wrapping up soon. I would certainly say that there will be some, maybe remaining funds from those existing projects. Concrete repair is we have a large amount of work to do in that area. I mean, I wouldn't recommend taking money from this, but we can certainly identify some completed projects that have probably remaining funds that could maybe be applied to another, need.
Okay.
And maybe I can make some recommendations.
Because I'm just looking, and like I said, I see that we had a balance of, it seems like we're adding $850,000 to this account.
550 now.
In anticipation, I'm going by, I
Yeah.
know. We're doing that in anticipation of future projects or what?
Yes, this is a recurring, regular maintenance project that we have. Currently? That's all available currently right now.
Right, everything's encumbered.
Yeah. So with the existing projects I was mentioning, there's only 780,000 left today, okay? So the next phase of this work we're going to do will probably be equal to what we're asking for in future years. Because it's a recurring maintenance initiative to keep our 70 miles of concrete roads in good working order.
So we don't actually have 2.3 million left. You're saying we only have 780,000
That is correct. It's encumbered already with the existing contracts.
Okay.
Yes.
So are you saying you wouldn't advise pulling the money I'm looking for from this account?
That's correct.
So can you get me a list of fund balances on completed projects?
Can you give him an idea of what amount you're looking for, and maybe he could come up with something for you for wrap-up?
A lot.
A lot? Okay. We got that under control.
And what type of project do you want to fund? Is that the traffic calming?
Yeah.
Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, traffic calming, yeah.
Okay.
Let's say 150,000.
So for wrap-up, he'll see if he can identify
Yes,
that.
yes. The other
So
thing-
basically, he needs to get the funding from Chad and get the project done through Warren?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
That's not-
That's correct.
If I,
You need the money
correct me
from,
if I'm wrong. You want to be right, you're right, okay, but anyway.
the director back there shaking his head. Not the interim, by the way.
Not the interim, okay.
As long as it gets done.
Yeah, so the only thing I'm saying, because there was a discussion earlier about the different methods of doing this. So, but if, for example, I see several districts already have some funds available for traffic calming devices. I don't know if that's a carryover from last budget year or whatever. Like Councilman Lewis has some funds in his account
Really?
for traffic calming devices.
I do?
So if you already have the funds allocated in an account, then you don't need an ordinance to allocate the funds because the fund's already there, correct?
The one that's existing
You still
currently,
need an ordinance to spend the money?
it's there.
Even if you already have the funds allocated? Okay, so, all right, we'll talk about that. Just, I need your help in locating
We'll do.
some unused funds. All right?
Will do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
Okay.
for your information, for all your wrap-up items, we will try to have that to you ahead of time and not spring it on you the night of wrap-up, so that way the night of wrap-up, you can make some decisions on those, and we'll help you with that.
All right, thank you, sir. Councilwoman Annette Cook, you have the floor, babe.
Thank you. I'm also looking for money, and actually, the wrap-up item, who isn't? Yeah. I'm still trying to do a road that's been a gravel road for like about 4 years now that was accepted into the city and really should not have been. But so anyway, I need according to an estimate I got, about $500,000. So I don't know. We're not at this page yet, but on page 308 with the urban asphalt overlay reconstruction under capital by department, is that money that could be used? I know we're getting there. I'm sorry, I'm jumping the gun. Don't fuss at me. But that has, that has $3 million in it. What is that? Is that money that could be pulled from there to do this construction of a road?
Well,
Hey, can we talk about that when we get there?
Well, I was asking it in reference to this, sorry.
Which one?
I just wanted to beat y'all to it, I'm sorry.
No, that's not.
No, okay. We're getting there next, but my first question was, I guess, I want also to be included in that wrap-up item, if there's any unused funds, so that I can find some funding for this particular road. And I'm going to
Gotcha.
press my button real quick when we get to the other one, okay?
Okay, I got you covered.
I understand.
All right, are we done with 287? Because I'm done with 287. Let's go to 288. What number is there?
On page 288, it is number 45, 50, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 67, 68, 70, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, and 81.
Councilwoman Annette Cook?
Okay, I'm going
you
to
have
try
the floor.
again.
Let's
I'm
do
on
it.
page 288.
All right.
I'm on the right page. Let's see, the number 55, the reconstruction and/or the preservation, can either of those funds be used to actually create a road? The
That's-
gravel's,
That's all Fund 401. It's all city pay-as-you-go capital, so it is however the
okay.
council prioritizes.
So can I make an amendment to move 500,000 from, which one you want me to pick from? You have a preference?
Probably the reconstruction would be the,
Okay, so number 55, so pull 500,000 from that for a street construction for a cobblestone. 3 million? Oh, no.
It's got 3,400,000, we're adding
497.
3,497,266. You want us to reduce that amount by 500,000, and you want to put 500,000 into a project named,
Cobblestone reconstruction, it's a street, cobblestone street.
I'm familiar with it.
Just for clarification, this is all city money, correct?
this is city pay-as-you-go money, yes, sir.
I just wanted to share that with my fellow people.
So I can use it, right?
It's city
Checking.
money. It's city funds
Carlson, I
that
gotta
we
watch
use
Carlson. Okay, that's it?
I was gonna say, it's city funds that we use to reconstruct existing asphalt roads
Okay.
on a, annual basis.
If it's gravel, I'm okay with that even too?
Like I said, we're addressing existing asphalt roads that have base failures and really need to be reconstructed. That's typically what that allocation is normally used for.
This needs just general reconstruction.
Yeah, you're in the same boat as Mr. Lewis with Rosa. It's a
I
gravel
can use it
road
for
that he
that.
wants to upgrade.
Okay.
So I was still going to review some of the unused funding from other projects as they maybe finish to identify maybe an alternate.
As long as you can
Funding
find
for
it, I don't care where you find it, just find it. Thank you.
Okay.
So you've made that amendment?
General amendment.
Hold on, I gotta ask a question. Any objections? From this side? This side? No objections, going in as a general amendment. Let's move
And
forward.
then should Chad find some money through some other projects prior to wrap up, he could consult with the council member to slightly change up what the amendment would be.
Great.
But it is a general amendment at this point.
Okay, if you find any parish dollars when we get there, let us know. You're right. But we're gonna increase the parish millage. Oh, y'all gonna pay? No, I'm joking. All right, Councilman Rubin?
Yes. I know that city,
Parish
Parish
Councilman.
Council, I know you stressed that, but I was talking to Glenn Lazard, and he might have forgot about it, so I'm gonna ask it for him.
Okay.
Sounds good, huh? The Carmel Drive sidewalks, I know it's stopping at a certain point. Is there any kind of way we can extend that further down?
Well, it can certainly be considered. I think under the current project, it's not going that far due to the limited funding that's available
Can I be-
under the grant.
Councilman Lazard asked if he can be on that list to get some money for that too. Should I ask for that money, man? No, but seriously speaking, is it possible?
It is possible to expand the project beyond its current, scope.
But once it crosses Pinhook, it's considered parish? Or is it still city?
That's a good question. I'm not sure where the actual parish line is or
I think
city
it's still
line
city.
is, but we can look into that to see if that's going to be a factor or not. We can look into that.
Okay.
And of
and
course,
if it's-
funding will be another question. You know,
All right.
Currently, it's under design up to Pinhook or just past Pinhook. It's currently being designed to that extent.
Okay. I'd like to put it in discussion if we can, because I'd like to extend it if possible.
Yeah,
All right.
it's fine.
All right, thanks.
All right. Councilwoman, Ms. Hebert, you have the floor.
Thank you, Sir Chairman. Question about road overlays. We have two city council members who have just, and I support you, so let me start there. I feel everybody tensing up. I support this because we shouldn't have, I guess I'm confused, is that I know we do these road overlay projects and we have a list, and to me, it's one of the fairest things in city government is that we have this unpolitical, unbiased list that you guys drive every single road and then have a rating system, and that's how it's determined which roads get overlaid, is from worst to best. How are these two gravel roads in the middle of the city not at the top of the list for road overlay?
Well, typically, when you take a gravel road and bring it up to roadway standards for asphalt,
Right.
Overlay, there's other issues usually. There's right-of-ways, there's utilities, and the drainage. Usually, these gravel roads are not, the right-of-ways are usually not sufficient to really rebuild it properly, because if you don't have proper drainage and also the standard lane widths, it's not going to work out. So it becomes quite expensive sometimes to take a gravel road and bring it up to that, rural road standard or city road standard. So generally, I think it's a funding issue.
So,
For the most
so I guess the question for you guys would be, can those even be, or would they be that much more expensive to be able to be up to standard? Okay, because as much as I want us to be careful about adding our roads or passion projects, because they do have a very fair and balanced system of ranking our roads, which ones need to be overlaid, is I want us to be very careful about adding our pet projects in there or taking money away from that since we have such a fair system in place. So just wanted to put that warning out there to my fellow council members, but still a little confused, and I'll wait to see your wrap-up items on why those have not been brought up to code yet, even before we purchase them, because we shouldn't have purchased them, right? Because I have a lot of people.
I don't think you purchased them, I think you annexed them.
I think they were,
into the city. You
Well, right,
accepted
but-
the road.
Right, but even that, they have to bring it up to code, right?
No.
They don't have to bring it up to code? I guess I'm waiting for
they
him
were
to answer me.
accepted as a
Chad, to answer
development.
me.
As a development, like on Cobblestone, it was, you know, designed and accepted as a gravel
As
loop.
is.
It's a loop. It's not really a very large road, but I'm familiar with it, and it is certainly probably should have not been accepted that way
this
or
was an
designed. I
accident?
don't know how it got there. I
Right.
really don't know. You know, and remain that way. I can't answer that.
And I can tell you typically, to your point, is in an unincorporated area, there's a blue sign. People go out and they buy in the subdivision. The developer didn't want to build the road to the standard of our road. So then the people buy and then they're like, well, we want the city or the parish to adopt the road. And we have a choice to say, no, we're not going to adopt it because it's not built to our standards.
Right.
And in this case, I agree. So I don't know how that happened, but
Right, I
typically
guess I
you
just
wouldn't
want to make
accept
sure
it.
what I know is correct, is that we do not take on a road if it's not up to the city standards, correct? They have to bring it up to standard in order for us to take it over, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I wasn't giving my constituents wrong information, because we've had to have, there are roads that need to be brought up. And then my next question is, last budget, I know it was a big hot topic discussion about a lot of the roads that, you know, I know Councilwoman Cook has a few in her district that I hear about, and one that she inherited from me, and I'll use them as my example is Grand Point. I know there's a few streets in Grand Point that have not been accepted by the city, and I know we have this long list of people that we're supposed to be getting in touch with the developers to make them get it up to code, because our constituents don't know. They don't know whether this is our responsibility or developers' responsibility.
Right, you just go
So
by.
I know that we were starting to work on that project last year. Where are we on that project? And getting
Yeah.
them up to code?
Right. Well, I think, once again, the rating system that we have, those roads, the ones that are accepted are going to go through that rating system and be allocated in the program, you know, accordingly. Now, I know there's problems also in that neighborhood. There's a lot of alleyways that are not public. And of course, I'd have to do a little research to find out if we have, how many actual roads have not been accepted.
Right.
Because I'm not real familiar with that
So yeah,
information.
maybe you and I, for wrap-up, you and I could have a separate conversation about that. But for council members who are new here, this is a big issue that some developers develop a neighborhood, and then we don't approve the streets because they're not up to the standard of what it should be. And so they just never get accepted. Then 20 years down the road, it looks like a third world country. But our constituents think it's our fault, that it's not, you need to come out and fix my road. And I have to tell them, it's not us, that's your developer. So we started, I think Councilman Castile was the one who led the charge last year about getting them up to standard so we can be all on the same page. So you and I will work on that, and hopefully we can have that information for wrap-up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Nanette Cook, you have the floor.
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to kind of explain where I am with that, the gravel street, because I respect exactly what you're saying, that we're on a tight budget, but this particular street, just as you alluded to, it has been, since I got on the council, I'm not even sure when they took this street in, but it's been gravel for a long time, and it should not have been accepted, correct? And I guess, when we find these little streets and from these people who are also, their argument is, I'm paying taxes too, and I'd like to have my street up to code. And so this is why this one has come before us. I do know we have a very strict rating system, and we usually don't take them in this state. This one kind of fell through the cracks, and so this is why I'm trying to correct that situation right now. So anyway, just that's why this one came up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Councilman
I just want to add to the road that I'm talking about is, I doubt if it's a quarter of a mile long, not very long, and part of the road is already asphalt, and it's just to complete it, basically what it is. So I think we have some. I did check with Corey, the one that raised the streets, and basically it's ready. Just a few right-of-ways that has to be taken care of, because there's a dead-end street for the cul-de-sac and what have you. So that's basically what it is, and put the asphalt on it. So the road is a city road. It's in Lafayette, city of Lafayette. So again, it's just to complete the asphalt on the road.
Like I said, I would like to review the assessment.
Yeah,
Evaluate the cost estimate to make sure we're not missing anything.
I understand what you are saying, but I'm hearing the comments that's being said, and I just want to make sure that we're clear on what's going on the street that I'm talking about. So Again, it's not very long, only about a quarter of a mile, if that long.
Councilman Tabor, you have the floor.
To Liz's point, it also applies to drainage, too, on the stuff that I've asked about that, and I think Jay did do ordinance, or they're supposed to be. I need to, I guess, V, we could put that on a list to try to find that, where if something I was interested in looking into, mostly on drainage, if the contractor goes in there and develops it, if I don't understand, we don't have anything to hold them to it. And I think me and you talked about that one time, Chad. Yeah. So if you can, while we're on the subject, I just want to get on the record of if we could look it up. There's no great rush, but I mean, I like to, it's just for my own personal. I was told, I talked to ex-councilman Castile, and he told me that he's pretty sure they did an ordinance in November sometime. Yeah. If not, we need to, I'd like to, that's something we'll proceed. Thank you.
Okay, moving right along. Page 290. Page 290, last page. What number is here?
Number 136, 138, 139, 150, 152.
Okay. Page 290, anybody? Okay, seeing none. Now we will go to
Page
capital.
307
Okay.
through 311.
Public Works Capital, page 307, anybody? 307. Moving to 308. 308. 308. Seeing none, 309. Councilwoman Annette Cook, you good? Okay. 309.
I have
Got an amendment?
I'd like to suggest or offer here. 702, the vehicle maintenance, 702, let's see. 702-5161, 8,900. It's the fleet focus standard licenses. That's a duplicate. It's covered in contractual services. Need to delete it.
Okay, anybody want to offer that as a general amendment? Councilman Andy Knockan will offer that as a general amendment. Any objections? Seeing no objections, that'll go in as a general amendment. Any other amendments?
That's it for now.
Okay, we're on 308. Now moving to 309. 309. Seeing none. 310. Page 310. 310. Anything? Seeing none. Let's go to page 311. Page 311.
311 is just the total
Yep.
at the top.
Yep. That's it.
And now the Manning table, page 333 through 336. On page 333, I'd like to propose an amendment. It is labeled, if you have copies of their amendment number 4. This is an amendment to eliminate a vacant Associate Director of Public Works position. And Associate Director of Public Works, it's about midway through the page. and we would like to delete that position.
Okay. Councilman Andy Nakane will offer that amendment. Any objections? Seeing none, that'll go in as a general amendment. Okay. Now we are on 334. Page 334. Seeing none. 335.
On page 335, I'm not sure where on 335, but there are 2 vacant environmental service inspectors that the department would like to remove.
Okay, another amendment?
Eliminate 2 vacant environmental service inspectors.
Okay. Councilman Andy Nakane offers that amendment. Any objections? Hold on, Andy.
That is correct.
We got an objection on the floor by Councilman Lewis.
And myself.
And, okay, it only takes one. All right. Give me an explanation of why you want to do that and what's the reason behind it.
So if you recall, in January, we approached the council with the idea that we would increase our inspection activities and through overtime and monitor that at the appropriate time in lieu of hiring 2 more people. Well, since then, we've made some changes in how we process violations, and we're using technology, if you will, to automate all this letter writing, because we write quite a bit. So what happens is those inspectors have to come out of the field to prepare all this documentation. Well, we've automated the process. They go out in the field with their iPads and they're taking pictures, and they're using, I think through the clerk of court's database, they're able to attach all that information on that property. The letters produced in the office, they don't have to come in anymore. So we've gotten really efficient with our inspectors. We just don't need 2 more inspectors. We're writing 60% more letters than we did last year, which is where we want it to be. We want it to increase the effectiveness of the inspectors that we have, and we've been able to do that. And without the need for overtime, which we did anticipate that, but the system's working so well that we just don't need additional inspectors.
To be more efficient, basically, you can get the job done.
They're spending more time in the field. I mean, that was the problem. We had a lot of the complaints in the past have been we're not addressing getting the grass cut fast enough. We're not inspecting them fast enough. Well, this is part 1 of 2 improvements we want to make, which is getting out there, inspecting more quicker, and part 2 is getting the grass cut quicker. So that's going to be part of the GOMO system, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks. But it's all about shortening that window from the time we identify a violation to the time it gets cut. There's always been a lot of problems in the past of, focused on trying to shorten that window. And
Okay.
I think Kenneth Boudreaux had offered, 2 positions to try to facilitate that, and we're just saying we found another way to do it with our, through technology and electronic bidding.
Gotcha.
Create more competitive bidding.
Have they always been vacant?
They've never been filled.
So they've never been filled. The positions were there, but they never were filled.
They were added in last year's, well, this current year's budget, but we didn't fill them.
Gotcha.
They were added during a time when it's really not peak season. We're just getting into peak season, so there wasn't a rush, I believe, right out of the gate to fill the positions.
Gotcha.
We've taken a different approach as we got into the grass cutting season.
Gotcha. Councilman Lazard.
I understand the efficiency part, and I'm really not sure what the metric is to determine whether or not we're doing a better job or not. I'm not sure what the metric is, so I'm not going to speak to that. But the vast majority of the issues are in District 1 and District 5, city-wise. It's where the vast majority of adjudicated properties are, overgrown lots are. So when these positions were created, they were created because a determination was made that there was a need for them. And I wasn't here last year, so I don't know what the volume of calls were or how fast the process was moving. But based on what I see on a day-to-day basis, because I live in the district and I travel throughout it quite frequently, and I'm not going to speak for Councilman Lewis or Councilman Rubin, but I really don't, I guess I shouldn't say I don't see the improvements because I don't know what the volume was last year and in terms of how they were moving. But when we had the conversation back in February, I think it was, right after I came on board, when we had this discussion, we said that we were going to go ahead and get through this season, if you will, and then we will make a determination after we got through this season to determine whether or not the revised process was effective and up to par or not. So my objection, I know Councilman Lewis made the objection already, but I would simply request that we, quote unquote, stick to the plan. And that's, let's get through this season. We can always make, can't we always come back and make mid-year budget amendments if we have to? So, you know, I think we made a promise of sorts to the people that we were going to get through this season, then evaluate it after we got through this season. I don't know whether we need them or not. But based on what I see on a daily basis, you know, and maybe I'm not totally objective because I live in the community and I live in the neighborhood and I get the calls and the emails and the texts every day. I would simply make the request, and I know we've already gone through the technical stuff, but in my personal opinion, I think the need is probably still there. So I would respectfully request that we, you know, we say we're going to get through this season, then evaluate it after we got through this season. So let's do that and see where we are. And we can always come back and make the mid-year budget adjustments if we have to and eliminate the positions after we've had a full season under our belt to see whether or not we're moving, getting through this process any quicker than what we were before.
Yeah, I fully appreciate the fact that you don't have as much detailed information, you know, to give you the confidence, because we haven't finished the grass season yet, so I guess all the data's not there. Although we know that all the violation letters we send out, they're about 85% effective. I mean, people go out and they cut their grass within the, you know. So the fact that we're getting these letters out more timely means people are cutting their grass more timely, the majority. The adjudicated properties does present a little bit of a challenge, but the ordinance, the way it's written, allows us to take a property that's not, where we don't get a response, okay, from an occupied property or an abandoned property is what we like to call them. We can put that on a rotation. We put the notice out. We don't have to go out and inspect this thing over and over again, which eliminates the need for more inspectors. So we would like to utilize that recurring monthly maintenance of the property without the inspectors, and we can do that. It just requires us to know where there are, you know, and get them through the program. So it's very doable without more inspectors to handle abandoned properties. And we're looking forward to GOMO, which we know is going to reduce the cost of managing those properties. It's one of the reasons why they haven't been put on a regular rotation in the past, because cost concerns. So we found a more efficient way of getting a more economical result on those abandoned properties. So, you know, certainly there's probably no harm just leaving it. I mean, we're not petitioning to fill them. So
Yeah. Let's just get more information at wrap up. Sounds good? Okay. Mayor President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And also, I know we were talking about both adjudicated property and also grass cutting. I just want to again remind our council members, our employees, our public, anybody watching, listening, this GOMO system, it is proven to be a lot more efficient. We're cutting a lot more grass in our city and unincorporated areas. But my challenge to everyone, and Warren loves when I do this. But really, though, if you see an area in town or in unincorporated areas, look, when in doubt, please email W. Abity, he really loves this, WAbity@LafayetteLA.gov. So everybody watching, WAbity@LafayetteLA.gov. It would be great, now don't do this while you're driving, but it would be great if you could get a picture when you pull over or whatnot and you email Warren. Just put a general description, pinhook at the Vermilion River. I'm just throwing that out there. But really, though, because you guys are going to drive your, like Councilman Lazar said, you drive your district more than anybody. There are still areas, rights of way, property that's not even on Warren's radar. He's just starting this. So we need your help. We need the public's help. Email them. And I know, Councilman, you're talking more adjudicated, but I just wanted to take that opportunity to say that. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Councilwoman Annette Cook.
Well, are we done with everything?
I'd like to be, but no, we're not. We still got some more pages.
I have is this the time that I can make an amendment or propose an amendment that's not related to Public Works?
No.
Okay, so,
I want to stick with Public Works.
okay, well, what if we already went over this and I missed it? That's it? Like a couple of days ago.
A couple of days ago.
Well, from a different budget.
Okay, well,
That's what I'm just asking, a protocol question.
I would recommend making that amendment at wrap-up or at another time, unless.
She can make it.
What is it for? Well, why you squinting right there?
Why am I squinting? Because at wrap-up if anybody, I have some housekeeping
It makes it
amendments
easier for you.
also.
I'm just saying that.
Well, it allows us to be able to know what's out there and what's on the radar. It allows us to go back and balance the fund. And so it does allow us some efficiencies to know if you have anything else that's out there. Now, you don't have to do it before the council. You can send us an email and we'll know ahead of time. But
all right, go ahead. Whatever.
Well, and
The reason I say that is because I've been on this council when at the last minute to wrap up, and somebody always comes in with the last minute when we did salary bumps and raise
they
increases.
do, and it drives us nuts.
It drives y'all crazy, but
But, Mr. Chair, I think you wanted to finish with Public Works because she said
Yes.
it didn't have, you
Yeah.
need to,
yeah,
finish up with that.
I need to finish up with Public Works.
I think we're finished.
Okay. Well, we were only page. We ain't even got to the manning table.
Didn't get
Yeah,
through.
we just went
I
through.
thought we finished
We're on page
everything.
336.
No,
Pat, go
I
ahead.
have none to-
Do-
I just want to make sure that the two position is still there until we have more discussion on it.
So
That's
because
my
of the
understanding.
objection, it'll go through
Right.
as a separate amendment.
Okay, that's it.
So it still, because you objected, it'll stay there until we vote. Ms. Cook, you still have the floor.
I'm still trying to figure out, where are we? Oh, we're finished with Public Works,
Waiting
correct?
to say goodbye to Public Works.
No, we're not.
But we have to say goodbye.
We're not finished with Public Works yet.
We're on page 336, Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
I'll be back.
36.
Okay. 336, anybody got anything? 336, the manning table. Nothing?
That's it.
Okay. We're good. Any public comment?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you, Chad. Now, Ms. Cook, if you make it quick, I'm gonna give chair privilege to,
Sorry,
go
you got
ahead.
places to go, I get that.
Go ahead, if you're gonna make
Okay,
it.
you have some wrap-up amendments to you?
I have some housekeeping
Let's-
amendments
let's-
that.
Go ahead.
Okay. So you know I'm restructuring and I had some potential layoffs. One of my accounting clerks in risk management found a job. So since she's going to vacate that job, I would like to delete that job so that way I can now keep the secretary and we won't have to lay either of those positions off. So on page 330, I would like to reinstate the Secretary 1 position and delete the accounting clerk.
Okay, anybody want to offer that as a general amendment? Councilman Knocking offers that as a general amendment. Any objections?
Thank you.
General amendment, going in.
That's labeled Amendment Number 7. Amendment Number 8, you guys may recall, you caught an error in the book where we had accrued a sick leave in CD Court Services, and we need to move that to CD Housing Counseling Services. So we need to move it from page 210 to page 212. Sick and
Councilman-
accrued leave.
Councilman Tabor will offer that general amendment. Any objections? Seeing none, that'll go in as a general amendment.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Cook. Okay, I'm gonna use the nice privilege that I have, and I like how you're a good person, and I'm gonna give you the time. But look, it cannot go past 5 minutes.
3 minutes.
Okay, hold on.
Carlson's not here, so he won't object, so I can do it very quick. Did he leave?
That was a good.
I love Josh. I'm just kidding, Josh. Okay, so I would like to propose a new position.
What?
Well, it's a position, it's considered a fundraising marketing consultant position in community development that will be shared between the Science Museum and the Hyman Performing Arts Center. And it's a contractual position, a $60,000 position, to help with fundraising and marketing activities, because we're trying to get those centers, or the Hyman Performing Arts Center and/or the Science Museum, we're trying to reduce our obligation to them. And so in order to do that, we need them to be more self-sufficient. So we had a conversation the other day, and we came up with, originally we were going to do 2 positions, $40,000 each, which is $80,000. Okay, so I'm proposing, instead of 2 positions, 1 position would be perfect and could work between those 2 facilities, again, and help provide some better marketing, better fundraising opportunities for those facilities to maintain, to improve the bottom line as far as their overhead. So I'm proposing that 1 position, a contractual services position, for $60,000 to be put in community development. And I'm not sure how you want to line item. It was originally supposed to be line item under Hyman Performing Arts and/or a Science Museum, but.
So.
Where's that funding coming from?
You've kind of contradicted what you've said in there, and adding a position and adding contractual services is 2 different things.
I'm sorry, and not a position.
Okay, hold on a second. All right, go ahead.
Thank you. So the funding, it's my understanding, would come from 101, the city general fund. And I did have a good conversation with Councilwoman Cook in regards to setting up the Hyman Performing Arts Center and the Science Museum for success. As we go through this transition, we've had discussions over the last few weeks on how to get these entities self-sustaining. The Councilwoman brought up a very good point the other day in my office, that we need to help them promote as they go through this transition. I think it's very responsible. I have no objection to this. I ask the council not to object as well.
So let me just verify, we're not adding a manning table position, we're adding contractual services, and you want it split between the Hyman Center and the Science Museum, half and half. So we're going to increase contractual services in both of those, in the Hyman Center and in the Science Museum, by $30,000 each, which will translate into an increase in the amount coming from the city general fund to cover those expenses.
I could not have said it better. Thank you. Under community development.
Okay. Councilman Lazard. Oh, hold on. That goes in as a general amendment. Any objections? Seeing none, we'll go in as a general amendment. Councilman Lazard.
I think since I'm equally as nice as Ms. Cook is, I'll get, but
All right. You are correct.
in any event, we're talking about housekeeping and not wanting to pile stuff up at the last minute to give Lori time to make whatever necessary adjustments she have to make in the budget before final adoption. I have a couple of things, as you know, Lori, that are floating out there, awaiting additional information. So how would you perceive that we would,
Well,
That
what
would be
we'll do-
considered wrap-up, which means
that.
they're going to have time, they're going to go get the information that you requested, and at wrap-up, if you don't get the information that you like, or it is what you're satisfied with, you have that choice to either leave it alone, or at that point, you can make a general amendment, and somebody can object, or maybe nobody objects.
And
So,
if it looks like it's going where you want it to go, we'll even have the amendment all written up and prepared for you.
right,
okay.
okay. All right, any comments from the public? No, we're good? All right, everyone invited to a public hearing for the citizen input on the budget on any matter related to the budget, which will be held on Tuesday, August 18th at 5:30 PM during the special joint meeting council. The remaining budget dates are scheduled for Thursday, August 27th, to hear wrap-up items, and Thursday, September 10th, is when the budget is scheduled for final adoption. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for attending. Have a great day. Thank you.